I'm Lexi, and I'm going to be talking about what I learned in history class this year. My history class isn't exactly like a normal history class. We don't just read the textbook and take tests. And although we do use textbook learning some of the time, what our teacher really tries to do is use a variety of teaching methods to make history really fun. So we learn about history through videos and documentaries, and also discussions and research. So some examples of this are we watched a documentary, 13th, and then we learned about the 19th century by everyone researching a different part of like that time period and then writing essays, and then we all came together and discussed what we found, and this allowed us to like gain a really deep understanding of a really large amount of time just through everybody else's input and like what they learned. And so that was really interesting. We even learned about history through a student-made music video. In this class, I also really learned that you can learn about history through things that are super interesting to you. And I didn't really think about that before, because when I think about history, I usually think about like all dead white guys. But I was able to learn about the 19th century through Lizzie Borden, who is a girl who murdered her parents. And it seems like there's no way you can get like an important like view of history based on Lizzie Borden. But actually through research, I was able to see that she had a big impact on history. And so by learning about something that interests me, I was actually able to gain a lot of knowledge about American history. So now I'm going to be talking about something that we learned in history class that really interested me. One of the things we watched was a documentary movie called 13th. And in this, one of the things it talked about was the war on drugs, and how, according to them, it was really a ploy for the mass incarceration of African American people. And this is something that never would have occurred to me before, because living in Dayton, we hear so much about the war on drugs. And when I think about that, I think of like drug dealers and bad people who are taking a ton of drugs being incarcerated for the good of the people. However, according to this documentary, it was really just a way to incarcerate a large number of African American people and force them into something that sort of resembles slavery. Because although slavery was obviously abolished, they did not abolish like prison work. And prison work in some ways sort of resembles like slave labor, because they don't have a choice and they have to do all of this work. And the war on drugs causing a mass incarceration of black people is sort of like a new way to force African American people into a new form of slavery. And so through learning in the different ways that we learned in this class and seeing documentaries like this, I was able to gain different perspectives, like the one that I just mentioned, and that really enriched my learning and caused me to really have a broader and more diverse range of perspectives on historical issues and current issues as well. So yeah, that's what I learned in history class this year.